I'm Alexis Jacobson.
I'm Natalie Dijon. Welcome to the Production Desk,
a podcast about the people and process of animation production.
Before we dive into our topic today, I thought it would be fun to talk about the Sunday Scaries, because we're recording this on a Sunday evening, which is prime time for the Sunday Scaries to kick in. Do you have them right now?
I do. I'm not going to lie. Even if production is quiet, I think I have them. I will say, I think part of that is you also just catch up on sleep on the weekend and then going to bed at a reasonable hour on a Sunday. It's always tricky. And I'm always that person who's a night owl who does not want to go to bed. So the cruel reality of Monday morning hits and you're like, oh my God, why is 6 a.m. coming around already? But how about yourself? Is it a weekly thing as well?
No, it's inconsistent. I don't always have Sunday scaries. Sometimes they're Monday morning scaries. My anxiety likes to show up in the morning, which is a little bit of a blessing, I guess. But sometimes, like right now, I can feel this like low level anxiety just sort of lurking beneath the surface. And there's not any one thing that I'm nervous about. It's a full busy week and I gotta mentally prepare to get through it. So that's where I'm at on this particular Sunday.
Well, just know you are not alone.
That's what makes me feel better, to be honest, is I assume like on Monday mornings when you're dragging yourself in, I'm like, nobody wants to be here. And that brings me a little joy. Like we're all in the same boat. I think I'm just at a point where I'm like, Mondays always suck everywhere, no matter what job I think you have. So you might as well enjoy Sunday evening is what I try and tell myself, but it doesn't always happen.
I agree, though. It's better to try just to make the best of it and to set the tone of the week.
Well, are you ready to dive into our topic?
Are you ready?
I think I am ready. And the topic is, what is production?
Hey!
Like, let's start with the basics. I don't know about you, but almost every time I tell someone outside of this industry that I work in animation, I'm going to say 9 times out of 10, the person goes, oh, so you're an animator? And then I go, no, I work in production, which means I like manage artists and schedules and deadlines. And they always go, oh, that's like the end of the conversation. And then they'll be like, did you work on Frozen or whatever movie they just saw? But it's almost always, oh, are you an animator? And then this sort of either quizzical or like a deflated look when it's like, no, I'm not an animator. So I thought it might be fun to just get into what is production, because it's not just a group of animators. I mean, they're an integral part, of course, but there's so many people involved, and we're going to use that word production a lot on this podcast. So I thought we could jump in and be like, what do we even mean by that? What I'm going to do is describe like the bigger piece of production and then get down to how we are going to be using that word more on this podcast. So really, in simplest terms, production encompasses multiple departments and roles and this very extensive pipeline that helps make a movie and or series. And again, we're going to be focusing mostly on feature animation because that's our background, but we can get into the differences there. But I want to ask you, how else would you sum up what a production is on feature animation?
It's such a hard thing to quantify elegantly because it's essentially what no one sees. There's so many different parts to it, so it's very multifaceted. And I know you have this later on, but I think it's something that we should say more than once. I do truly believe that production staff are the unsung heroes. We're often put in pretty stressful situations with wonderful people and all trying to make a movie. And the way that animation production works, it's bizarre. It's like, depends on how many screenings you have, and you're essentially remaking the movie 5 to 7 times, and all with the hope that from start to finish, you will have an incredible story. So it is kind of a bonkers way of making movies.
I liked that when I asked you, made a face of like, oh boy, how do I describe this? Because I want to be like, production.
That old chestnut.
But yeah, so when we're saying like production staff, maybe I'll use that term. To me, that is the people who deal with the project and people management of the movie, which we tend to use the word show, by the way. And I've had people be like, wait, you work on a show? I thought you worked on a movie. And I go, no, I am working on a movie, but we call it a show, just to throw that term out there. Maybe we should have like a glossary.
Ooh, I like that.
Because there's a lot of terms we use that just like don't make any sense.
I think you also made a really good point that we are, at the moment at least, and for this episode specifically, that we're wanting to largely kind of discuss more the front end production staff. And we'll get into like the back end, because I know that is a bit more of a deep dive as well later.
It's kind of niching it down a little bit. I've worked on both sides, and I think you have too.
Yes.
Right? Front end and back end. Yeah. But more recently, I've been with the front end production staff, which when we say front end usually means from script to about previs, I would say, is kind of the break-in departments. And then layout, animation, CFX, lighting, comp, I would consider the back half of the animation pipeline.
And the other part of that craziness is then you also get into like the post-production supervisor and all of what post entails, which is fascinating. It will be so interesting doing a deep dive on that in a later episode and getting some post-production supervisors to talk to, because it is such a unique skill set and it is so technical and it is so hard.
To your point, there's so many different departments and types of prod staff we could hone in on. And when I started in animation, I was like, holy shit, I didn't even know half of these jobs existed. And I think it'd be fun to, shine a light on that. And even in that conversation, I said, when people are like, oh, you're an animator. And then I say no. And they go, oh, you manage animators. And I'm like, well, sometimes, but there's many different types of artists. And I think it's worth mentioning within those departments of artists, story artists, visual development artists, editors, and then of course the back half of the pipeline, there are creative leads that run those departments that we as production staff work very closely with. So there's managing down, there's managing laterally, and there's managing up. That's the people management part of it all.
I was just going to add, and we're focusing on 3D animation versus 2D.
I've not worked in 2D, and I was about to add 3D. You could also exchange that for the word CG animation. I started saying this to you before we were recording, but I give artists and other creatives a lot of shit for not getting our titles right. And then as I was prepping for this episode, I'm like, oh, it can be confusing. Between PAs and coordinators, I feel like are pretty clear. Producers are clear. But then there's this mushy middle of middle management. Maybe that's what this episode, maybe we should change the title.
There's our title, mushy middle management.
There's a lot of people within there with different roles. And for example, Sony has a role, which you're in, called Associate Production Manager. I am in that exact role at Netflix, and it's called a Production Supervisor. I feel like, oh, I kind of understand why people outside of production are like, what do you do? What's a production manager? What's a production supervisor? What's an associate production manager, which we shorten to APM? Some companies have associate producers, but not all do.
It's so oddly complicated, especially because it's not uniform across the industry.
So maybe we can help educate people on just what the rules are.
I think that is a very noble and wonderful goal that I would love to see us hit.
I think we did it. I think we described production.
Obviously, depending on the phase of production that you are in, a day in the life, of course, will vary. What does a typical day for you look like at the moment?
Okay, so typical day, I come in 15 minutes later than I planned on coming in, and then I meet with... I live really close to my job, so I always think I have more time than I do. But I meet with our art coordinators, and we talk about the schedule for the day, the schedule for the week. What are we shipping to our partner studio? What are the artists working on? Do they need to be launched on something new? And then we connect with our PD and art directors on their assignments as well. So that's the morning. And then depending on the day, sometimes it's back to back to back to back meetings for, gosh, again, because we're in production, it's a lot of meetings with our partner studio. We're launching lighting keys. We're looking at look dev, starting to get to CFX, FX, looking at sets. Basically, the fruits of our labor, everything that we've shipped over to the partner studio is now coming back, which is so exciting to see, because that's when it feels real to me. When you see things look dev'd and they're three-dimensional and you see the characters and the turnarounds and you're exploring the sets, it feels like, oh, we're making a movie. We just got into animation as well. So it's full steam ahead.
That's amazing. It's such an exciting point to be at, for sure. You know, it's funny because hearing you talk about that, I'm in the polar opposite, very beginning, where everything is very fluffy and organic. My days vary as well, where it's kind of kicking the team off, kind of similar, obviously, of like, what are we trying to hit for the week sequence-wise, whether or not we have an edit review, whether we have scratch records. There's a lot of projecting of schedules in terms of the lead up to the screening and what we're trying to hit, coming off of 2 films that were in full-on production most recently, and then going to like the very beginning where it's just a very different pace. People are always like, enjoy this while you have it, because it only gets more intense from this point forward. It's very bizarre to go from that delivery pace to the very beginning. It's fun to be back at the beginning and to see all the different forms that the film could take, which is very cool.
That's when you're always hearing the words blue sky and brainstorm, and it all feels very, I think, like hippy dippy. Like, we have all this time in the world. It's fluid. Let's see where the story goes.
I feel like people are triggered right now by the word blue sky or cadence.
I'll add, because I was sitting here thinking, my days are so full. What am I doing all day? And part of it is all these little odds and ends popping up now. Still some changes happening in story. Then on my side, we have to figure out, oh, does that change the set design? Is that character not in here anymore? It's a lot of little nitty-gritty details.
It's a lot of funneling information, isn't it? It's making sure you're disseminating information where it needs to get to, and just keeping everyone on the same page to like achieve this vision. It's so funny kind of thinking about like the writing and like the analogy of like production kind of fitting into that same thing where everyone is like aiming towards this goal and it's keeping kind of all these different branches heading in the same direction.
I come from a story edit background, but it's funny because the art department would be like, stop adding new props to the movie. Because, you know, in story, the direction is often, okay, brainstorm gags. And then the art team's like, do we have to make all of those? What is this? What's real? And it's so funny to be on this side now, where I'm the person going, is that joke funny enough to warrant a new prop? It's kind of fun to be on this side, and I get it now.
It's so humbling going from story edit to viz dev. It's so hard. Everything is constantly evolving. It's very technical and bidding focused, and it's so detail driven, and there's so much that changes in every script version, and doing breakdowns and the approach to, you read something on the page and you're like, man, if it were me, I might approach it like this. But you're not going to know that until it's boarded. And then if it's boarded, how is that going to then get like translated to the vendor? It's amazing to me. Making movies is so hard. The amount of people that work on a film, and everyone has just such a specific role. It's so cool just seeing all those bits come together. We were just literally watching a movie from like 2014 last night, my husband and I, and we always watch the credits. Everyone in the credits deserves an applause.
That's so nice.
It's rare to watch a film where you don't know somebody, which is kind of nice.
I'm sure. It's funny, the credits reminds me of the story once we were watching something I worked on at home on TV, and my niece was over and she was really little at the time, and they were like, okay, we're going to look for Aunt Natalie's name in the credits. And she didn't quite get what that was. She couldn't read yet, right? She's like, is that it? Is that it? And then all these names are going by and she goes, are these all your friends at work?
Aww.
He was like, yeah, I guess so. That's a good way of putting it. That's what I think about credits now on movies. Like, oh, those are all the friends from work.
That's so cute. I like thinking about that in that way too. Last October, we went to our first LightBox Expo. For those who don't know what that is, it's an annual 3-day convention that takes place in Pasadena, California, for animation, live action, video games, and illustration. It was so much fun running into so many colleagues from all over. All right, we're 2 production people. We're going down the line of exhibitors. Nat, how are you feeling?
The introvert in me does not like how many people are here.
There are a lot of people.
Are you extroverted? You are, huh?
You know, I need to be in the zone. And it's so funny when you're either on or you're not. And I'm really hoping today I'm on. That's what I'm, as you said outside, channeling my inner Sasha Fierce. I will say I'm not a big fan of crowds either. So I totally understand that. And also, Natalie and I are not thrilled by the humidity today because we got our hair looking good.
I know.
And
it
humidity,
really is fucking up our hair.
It is fucking up our hair.
All the art.
The art is amazing. There are so many incredibly talented people here. And yeah, we're starting off getting the lay of the land, figuring out kind of our plan of how to approach today. So we're starting with an overview of each room. And then we will decide from there and grab all of our colleagues as they're rolling off their panels.
You know what I need to find? Another iced coffee situation.
Caffeine just makes everything better, so I am 100% behind that.
Okay.
Thank you.
You were supporting me.
Natalie, can you tell me the last time you were at the Pasadena Convention Center?
Yes. It was for a Halloween convention. And yes, I've been more than once. I don't know if they still do it here. I used to go like every year. It's not always here. Actually, I could really get into it. There was an original Halloween conference, and then they had some beef amongst themselves. And so there was a splinter group. And now for a while there was 2 competing Halloween conventions in the summer. And now I think it's one again. But last time I was at the Pasadena Convention Center, it was for a Halloween convention.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Have you been here?
Oh, yes. My mom and I this past summer broke into CatCon at the Pasadena Convention Center. I want to thank my fabulous production manager, Brett Salinas, for giving us some wristbands to sneak in. My parents were in town from Boston, and I drove my mom from the west side to Pasadena, and she was going to see some damn cats, whether over my dead body. She was not leaving before she got in there. So
I feel like this is a great intro to our personalities. That last time you were here was for a CatCon, and last time I was here was for a Halloween convention.
But I think it just all points that we were destined to meet in life.
Just 2 production weirdos.
Yep, production weirdos coming together through LinkedIn. Our meet cute. When we initially arrived, we weren't sure how we wanted to tackle interviewing everyone around the different panels and schmoozing, and had no idea how many recording environment challenges we would run into. While we waited for different friends, we had a lot of fun people watching. All right, so we're outside Ballroom F, and Natalie, tell me your experience. Of course, there's a crying child right now. Hopefully we'll mellow out in a moment, but are you loving where we're seated right now? Can you tell our listeners what has happened over the past 15 minutes as we have plopped and drank some water?
Yes, I'm tempted to just sit here and hold court because I've seen the art director from my last movie, one of our directors, who all have agreed to give little interviews here at Lightbox, which I'm excited about. And we're watching crowds of people go into a panel.
And we're kind of tempted to also interview the woman who is screaming instructions because we also respect. It's literally herding cats is our job description a lot of the time. So we're very impressed by her dexterity with the crowd.
She's the real hero of the day.
The crowd control are the real heroes at Lightbox.
I bet you she works in production.
Being surrounded by artists, directors, editors, and producers, it felt like the perfect place to launch our podcast and ask a variety of questions. What do you think production does?
Ask me how long things are going to take.
Scheduling, wrangling artists, Excel spreadsheets.
I mean, production supports the creative process in every way. The technical aspect, the tracking aspect, metrics, statistics, schedules, budgets, you name it, script supervising, taking notes in our meetings. Notes are so valuable. I love production. Nothing would happen without them.
Herd the cats. Give us clear deadlines and clear feedback. You're responsible for the whole thing, really.
Production carries the weight of kind of the left brain side of the creative business. So they make sure that we're on schedule, make sure that we're on budget. They are going to make the impossible possible by taking what is a storyboarding production schedule and make it actually work on paper. I don't know how they do it because story, especially in feature, is constantly changing. Not just the page one rewrite, but just any rewrites in general. And I swear every time I've seen somebody that does story production, they have a new spreadsheet every day when it comes to doing a story. Anyway.
When has production saved your ass?
When someone has reminded me that an artist had been on an assignment for like 3 weeks, that was due 2 weeks ago.
Production is the buffer from the chaos.
There's been some life things that I've had to deal with where production has stepped in and been like, go take care of that, and we got you here.
Who drinks more? Artists, editors, or producers?
From what I hear, it's editors.
It's so true. Editors, you heard it here.
They're the only people that I know that actually have bars stocked in their offices. Like, if you want to know where the booze is, you go to an editor's office. You don't go to a director's office or anybody else's office. You go to the editor's office.
Artists drink more, right?
Depends on the production, but I'd say editors can pretty much hold their own.
As an enthusiastic drinker myself in a previous life, I would argue that artists do, but having been around, I would imagine that the producers probably get the most of it. And, actually, the more I learn, there's a certain point where editors don't see the light of day for quite some time.
It feels like a casino a lot in edit.
I think there's the revolving room of lights or something like that probably you just live in for a minute.
But what I like is what you're saying is that every department has a fantastic bar somewhere.
They do,
Hidden,
yes.
hidden
So, yeah.
well. Who takes more coffee breaks?
Oh, production takes more coffee breaks.
Wow.
That's for sure.
Wow.
But to
I
be
would
fair,
totally
it's because
say
you guys are
artists.
usually grabbing coffee for us, so no.
Such a good point.
Yeah.
And because we're nice, the bottom of our heart.
Yeah.
Like, got to keep you guys caffeinated to keep you on track.
Exactly. We just inhale our coffee. We don't actually take coffee breaks.
Ooh. I think that's probably equal across the board. We need shirts that's, powered by coffee. Everybody needs that shirt. I think we all drink too much coffee.
The strength of the coffee is strongest for the editors.
Oh, so go to edit for a strong espresso is what you're saying.
If you need to be awake for the next, 14 hours straight, you go to the editorial department.
Artists for sure.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
I would second that. What do you think is kind of one thing production does that you think no one really appreciates?
The wrangling of us, because I think creatives can be a little bit, we'll get it done when it gets done. It's part of the creative process. But sometimes we need a little bit of that reality check, the nudge.
Probably most of it, because a lot of people don't know how much work actually goes on behind the scenes between the artists and the editors to actually keep track of everything.
I think the note-taking process is one. They kind of just send these emails out, here's the notes from the day, kind of unsung heroes. If you read them, great, but I don't get a lot of responses in the thread. I don't say thank you all the time. It's kind of just a given. So just knowing, being self-aware, and that I don't regularly say thank you for those things, I would say that's very underappreciated.
Natalie makes what is otherwise a pretty painful process really fun.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
Production can be not soups fun, and you make it soups fun.
Give me your best impression of a production supervisor.
Okay, well, I'll do an impression. Knock, knock. Hey, just checking in. So for today's meeting, we were hoping to show this, and you're about to get boards for 10 more sequences they want to see in 10 minutes. So do you think that's possible? You can totally tell me no. But you still have to do it in 10 minutes.
Okay, here. I have a question. It'll just take 2 seconds.
Hey, yeah, you got time for a meeting? Cool, yeah, sure. All right, so we're just going to have to, just go ahead. We're looking out for you. But if you can just go ahead and do that, you can say yes or no. It's fine. All right, cool, thanks.
How many spreadsheets would you say is too many spreadsheets?
All of them.
If there are more than 3 spreadsheets for one single process, that's too many. I've had to update 5 spreadsheets for one particular point in the production process, and it was too many. You can blend them all together. People like to have different spreadsheets for different things. Does not make sense. Just put it all in one spreadsheet. That's why there are tabs.
Efficiency and tabs.
Efficiency.
Yes. I love
Tabs.
that.
We must embrace tabs into our life.
I would say any amount that has the same piece of information in two places. It needs to be updated twice. It's too many. One-stop shop as much as you can, but at the very least, you can make as many as you want as long as they all have different purposes that they are serving.
What is the meme that best describes working in production?
Ooh, the one with the dog's on fire.
I also do like the one of Jennifer Lawrence where she's like, yeah, sure, okay, and gives a thumbs up.
What's the part of production you wish got more credit?
To me, all the credit to me comes from the feedback loop. I love seeing the names in the credits, but I really know that making sure everybody who worked on it knows that it's going to be around forever. It doesn't exist without you. As long as everybody hears that in a way that they can believe it before the movie's over, that's credit enough for me.
So what brings you to Lightbox? I have a guess.
So last night we had the K-pop Demon Hunters sing-along, and Maggie, Chris, our two directors, and myself did a Q&A afterwards. We're so grateful and appreciative of the animation community.
I'm on a panel with my good friend Brett Marnell, Darren Holmes, and Marissa Horitz, who I've never met, so I'm excited to meet her. And I've only talked to Darren on the phone, so I've never met him in person either.
I was doing the K-pop Demon Hunters making of panel.
I really just love seeing the artists. Everyone's so nice, and it's kind of like our little Comic-Con, but for our animation people.
Animation Comic-Con.
It's where everybody comes in the industry to see other artists, meet other artists, and meet up and just kind of hang out. And it's always fun to see just what people are doing.
It's really quite gratifying to kind of run into so many colleagues, and it's amazing what a small world it is and how many people know each other.
It's an honor to be here and run into people like you guys and Wendell and everybody that I get to work with now, instead of just as a fan or a budding artist trying to just kind of check everything out too. So it's pretty awesome.
So I want to know, what's the most production thing you've ever heard yourself say?
I have said for visibility or for viz, V-I-Z, when you're adding another person to an email. Sometimes I'm like, what other word is there?
Oh my God, I do that all the time.
Yeah.
It's really funny.
I also like the distinction of V-I-Z versus V-I-S, because when I do it, I always pause and go, what's the right way to write the shorthand for visibility? So that's really funny.
I want to go circle back. My personal favorite is let's touch base. We're going to touch base on this next week. Let's put a pin in this and touch base next week. And now as I say this, I just feel dead inside.
Production is a complex web of spreadsheets, coffee, wrangling people, and keeping things moving, but is also care, clarity, and making space for creativity to happen. To everyone working behind the scenes, thank you. And yes, we'll circle back. You've been listening to The Production Desk. We are our own producers. Original music by Marcus Taylor.
If you have a moment, we'd love a review wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find The Production Desk on Instagram and Facebook.
For any episode ideas, please reach out.